I'm Kim Kirk, continuing the list of 10 things I learned about fear. Here's what we've seen so far. Fear is not from God. There's no need to fear, even in terrible times, because God is able and faithful. Today, we're going to dig into how it's all about perspective. Well, that's pretty much true about everything, and fear is no exception. When we compare whatever's frightening us to our almighty, all-knowing, all-present, sovereign God who is on our side, what could we ever possibly fear? That's what Psalm 27:1 speaks of. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When that is our perspective, it'll dispel any and every fear. Then there's Psalm 56, verses 3 and 4. When I am afraid, I will trust in you. In God whose word I praise. In God I trust. I will not be afraid. What can mortal man do to me? There are lots of things that we can learn from this verse. First of all, that fear will come upon us. It doesn't say if I am afraid, it says when I am afraid. So when it starts to creep in, it shouldn't surprise us. Instead, we should know that it's going to happen at times and then do what comes next in this verse. Trust in God. This has to do with surrendering what we're fearful of, knowing that He can handle it. Then there's a great perspective at the end of verse 4, where the psalmist asks, what can mortal man do to me? We have an almighty God who sits on the throne, who is in control of all things. There is no need to fear anyone. But I would say that a lot of us struggle with being frightened by things other than individuals. Things like disease or loss or different circumstances or situations. Well, we can take that mortal man that he says, what can mortal man do? We can take that out and put in just about anything that frightens us. What can cancer do? What can a job loss do? What can divorce do? What can depression do? Even what can a pandemic do? Because when we take our eyes off the thing that scares us and put it on our Almighty God, it gives us the true and accurate perspective that enables us to overcome any fear. I imagine that this isn't new. We probably came here today knowing this truth, but my hope is that this is a reminder for us to do it, to put it into practice and gain victory over our fears. If you've missed any segments in this series or any of the others that I have shared, you can always find them on my website or my YouTube page, and I hope you'll come back tomorrow.